Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, July 6th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Drama and excitement at the World Cup. England surviving and advancing past Mexico. The United States gets some good news for their match coming up tonight. We're going to get to that, plus some Major League Baseball, some basketball news. That's right, Summer League action in progress. It's all coming up on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. We start in the World Cup, where yesterday, two matches in the round of 16. Norway with a 2-1 win over Brazil as they advance to their first quarterfinals ever. Erling Haaland with 2 goals, one in the 79th minute, one in the 90th minute, as he is now tied with both Leo Messi and Kylian Mbappe with the lead in goals scored here at this World Cup with 7. We'll talk about the odds to win the Golden Boot as the leading goal scorer in a couple of minutes, but what a big win it was for Norway. And for Brazil, it was a disappointing early exit, their earliest exit from a World Cup since 1990. So Norway would then sit back, relax, and enjoy the nightcap to see who they would play in the quarterfinals. England taking on Mexico in Estadio Azteca, a place where Mexico had never lost a World Cup game. They did lose one game in a World Cup on home soil, but that did not come in Estadio Azteca. They were undefeated in World Cup play in that stadium in Mexico City. And the game last night, pushed back an hour due to weather, wet pitch, of course, soggy conditions, but it didn't stop the goal scoring. There was no score in the first 30 minutes before England scored twice in a 2-minute span. Jude Bellingham scoring 2 goals, one in the 36th minute, one in the 38th minute, as England silenced the crowd immediately, going up 2-0. At that point, you were wondering, how is Mexico going to get back into this game? Because the more that they press and attack, England's going to be so good on the counterattack that maybe that was going to lead to an England blowout victory of sorts. But then Mexico, just minutes later, gets a goal to turn it into a 2-1 game. 3 goals in a span of 6 minutes. That was just insane to watch. I was at Circle last night doing my VSiN show. The crowd in the sportsbook, which, by the way, that was as busy as I've seen the Circa Sportsbook ever. And I'm talking like Super Bowls too. The crowd was insane. And every time Mexico came close to scoring, everyone just went insane. So it was 2-1 Mexico, 2-1 England, excuse me. And then for the last several minutes of the first half, it was completely one-sided. Mexico seemed like the better team. They seemed like the fresher unit. They had all the chances, and Pickford made a couple of big saves. They go into the half with a 2-1 lead, England does. And then to start the second half, literally 54th minute of the game, England gets a red card. Unreal. Jarell Quansah was sent off, and England was down to 10 men for the last 40 minutes or so of action. They got a penalty kick in the 60th minute. Harry Kane cashed in on the penalty after VAR, and it made it 3-1 England. Mexico got a penalty of their own in the 69th minute to make it 3-2, and then England just went into survival mode for the remainder of the game. And Mexico had multiple chances. They had several corner kicks in stoppage time there at the end of regulation, but they could never get the equalizer, and England eliminates Mexico to reach the quarterfinals, where they will match up with Norway. It was an incredible game to watch. It was a drunk game. Just everything from the goals, the penalties, the drama of playing down to 10 men. It certainly delivered one of the best, most entertaining matches of this World Cup so far. And a great run for the Mexican team, who played so well in the group stage and in the round of 32. But England advances, just a couple of more wins from football coming home. 2 more knockout round games today. Portugal takes on Spain, that one being played at AT&T Stadium there in Arlington, Texas. Current odds up on the FanDuel Sportsbook for Spain and Portugal to advance. Spain minus 220, Portugal plus 178. If you're looking at the 3-way line, the regulation 3-way line, Spain minus 115, Portugal plus 310, the draw, 90-minute draw, plus 260. And then tonight, the match we've all been waiting for, the United States taking on Belgium, where the United States up on FanDuel is minus 116 to advance, Belgium minus 106. The three-way line is the United States plus 160, Belgium plus 170, the draw plus 240. This match being played in Seattle, where I do expect the crowd to obviously give the United States a massive home field advantage. Seattle's one of the best soccer crowds that we have, like in the MLS. The Sounders continually, draw massive crowds there in Seattle. But the big story for this game is the United States will have the services of their top striker, Flo Balogun. Yesterday, FIFA making the announcement that Balogun's one-match ban for receiving a red card in the second half of the Bosnia-Herzegovina game has been suspended. Now, I know their wording's awkward, right? But basically what they're saying is he can play here against Belgium. The one-match ban for the red card has been rescinded, and he's just going to be on probation for a year. So if he commits another infraction, there'll be a more severe penalty. So he'll probably get suspended for multiple games if in fact he, draws another red card or something like that. Obviously, Belgium not happy about this at all. The Belgium coach, Rudy Garcia, told reporters during a press conference, quote, "I didn't know that at the World Cup, the 5th of July is actually the 1st of April. It's April Fool's Day." That is just hilarious. Meanwhile, Mauricio Pochettino, the U.S. coach, at his press conference in response to FIFA's decision, said that basically the U.S. has been punished enough, right? Here was his quote. "We were punished enough against Bosnia-Herzegovina to play with 10 men 35 minutes in a decision that was completely unfair." He goes on to say, quote, "But it's not only because I am the head coach of the U.S. men's national team and I need to defend my side. It's only because I think it's 99.9% that we all agree that it was an unfair card," end quote. And I agree with him. That was the controversy when it happened, when Balogun received the red card, because he didn't receive a red card during the play. The ref did not issue him a red card because he deemed the challenge to be dangerous. It was upon VAR review where they said, okay, red card. And before people go crazy and say, oh, well, how could you do this? This is only because President Trump got involved in reaching out to FIFA, and it's only because the United States is the host country. There's precedent for this. Before the World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo received a red card in a match that would have had him suspended for multiple games, according to FIFA's rules, for the start of this World Cup, meaning he would have missed the first two group stage games for Portugal here at the World Cup. But FIFA, prior to the tournament, stepped in and used pretty much the similar laws and rulings and said, okay, Ronaldo's going to serve a probationary period, and we're going to suspend his match ban, meaning he is allowed to play at the World Cup. Obviously, you're going to make that decision, right? You're not going to start the World Cup with one of your star players, most recognizable players in the world, not being allowed to play. And I think this was a similar decision for the United States. Yes, the punishment was they played for 35 minutes down a man in an elimination round on a questionable call. Now he is allowed to play here tonight. And I jokingly put out on Twitter yesterday that Flo Balogun, anytime goal scorer, was going to be the most popular bet here tonight. Looking at the anytime goal scorer market up on FanDuel, Flo Balogun is the betting favorite to be an anytime goal scorer, plus 170. Anytime goal scorer for the United States. That's just in 90 minutes. If you go 90 minutes plus extra time, Flo Balogun plus 150 anytime goal scorer. My best bet for this game tonight, I do think both teams score. So the both teams to score is a bet for me, the BTTS, right? That includes extra time. The both teams to score, including extra time, is minus 215. But you can wager on the both teams to score with the total. And that's how I'm going to reduce the VIG on this. So it's both teams to score with over 2.5 goals. And if you parlay those two up on FanDuel right now, that is minus 135. Now, some sports books offer this bet as a standalone bet, both teams to score with the over 2.5 goals. But you have to read the fine print because at one book I was looking at, that was 90 minutes regulation time only. So 90 minutes plus stoppage time. The way that I'm doing it here with the 2-leg parlay up on FanDuel is the over 2.5 goals. That includes extra time and both teams to score, including extra time. This way, if it is a 1-1 draw going into the extra time and somebody scores and it's a 2-1 final or whatever, you cash that bet as opposed to losing with it being only 1-1 after 90 minutes and stoppage time. So that's minus 135. My best bet for tonight's game is both teams to score with the over 2.5 goals. By the way, if you're looking at a team total, like the United States, can they score 2 goals tonight against Belgium? Absolutely. I mean, the United States has scored over 1.5 goals in every single game here at the World Cup. So the over 1.5 on the team total is cashed in every single game. Could be another way for you to look at this game here tonight. For up on FanDuel right now, you can actually get plus 110 on the USA team total over 1.5 goals. I mentioned earlier that with Erling Haaland's 2 goals against Brazil, he draws into a 3-way tie with Kylian Mbappe and Leo Messi for the Golden Boot, the most goals scored at this World Cup. All 3 of them have 7 goals. Up on FanDuel right now, Kylian Mbappe is the favorite at even money, Leo Messi plus 165, and Haaland is plus 700. Now, the one thing that you have to keep in mind here is that Leo Messi and Argentina have 1 game at hand still to play. They still have to play their round of 16 game, while France and Kylian Mbappe and Norway and Holland have already advanced to the quarterfinals. But then you have to handicap this bet based on which team you think is going to play more games. Like France is the favorite to win. So France is favored to play a quarterfinal game, a semifinal game, and a final match. Meanwhile, yes, Argentina has the 1 game at hand, but maybe they only play a round of 16 game and a quarterfinal game. That's it. So that's why, like, Mbappe is a favorite over Leo Messi. And for Norway, are they eliminated by England? Like, is that it? Is it over? And is that going to be the last game that they play? All those things you have to consider when placing a bet on this market, the Golden Boot for the player who has the most goals here at the World Cup. I mentioned France, the favorite up on FanDuel, plus 175. Argentina, your second favorite, plus 450, followed by England at plus 500. I did tease we have some basketball news to report. And no, it's not LeBron James making an announcement as to what team he's going to play for, even though we fully expect it to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Summer League action started, and we had Summer League games going on this weekend. California Classic going on, the Salt Lake City Summer League, and then coming up this Thursday, the Vegas Summer League will get underway. The Stars certainly... or the young rookie stars certainly shining. Darren Peterson had himself a really nice debut during his Summer League performance. So he had 28 points on 11 of 21 shooting in 27 minutes. The Jazz had a 103-102 overtime win over the Hawks. So looking right now at the odds to win the NBA's Rookie of the Year award. Up on FanDuel, Cameron Boozer, still your favorite at plus 250. Darren Peterson, plus 320. AJ Debnza, plus 430. Now, a name that I think is interesting, and I've talked about him before because of the fit and where he's playing, Jaxa Lendeborg, the former Michigan standout, 25-1 to win the NBA's Rookie of the Year. Now, obviously, he has to overcome, guys like Peterson and Boozer and Debnza and whatnot. But, I was seeing clips on social media yesterday of Lendeborg for his game for the Warriors in the California Classic, had a couple of blocks. He was 3 of 5 from 3-point range. And in a system where he's going to be playing alongside Steph Curry, he's going to have opportunities. He might start for them as a rookie under Steve Kerr. I think it's a good flyer. I think it's a worthwhile selection at 25-1 if you're looking for value. Obviously, the favorites are the favorite for a reason, and we saw good debut there for Darren Peterson. We'll see how much more we see of these rookies throughout these Summer League games, but I do think there's value in placing some futures bets during the Summer League, and then yes, betting the NBA Summer League will come up. Maybe we'll, especially we're going to stick to the Vegas Summer League, which begins coming up on Thursday. We'll talk with Mackenzie Rivers at some point this week, get his take on how to bet the NBA Summer League. Major League Baseball, we have a day game today in Kansas City. The Phillies are at the Royals, and up on FanDuel right now, Philadelphia is a minus 185 favorite over Kansas City. Why? Well, it's because Christopher Sanchez is on the mound. Sanchez and his 10-3 record with a 2.00 ERA. Naturally, you'd make them heavy favorites. Total in the game is 8.5. You can get plus 102 on the over. Might get pushed down to 8. If you're thinking about an over, maybe wait to see if the line goes down to 8. Noah Cameron's on the mound for the Kansas City Royals. I do not want to bet the Phillies in this game. But as much as I want to fade the Phillies in this game, and I'll tell you why in a second, I don't know if I have it in me to back the Royals and Noah Cameron at plus 152. I actually think the over might be the play here. And obviously we'll monitor weather and ballpark conditions for Kansas City coming up here later on this morning. But let's take a look at Christopher Sanchez's splits. And this is some of the most jarring splits I think we've seen in quite some time. Christopher Sanchez has made, 11 starts at home at Citizens Bank Park this year. He has made 7 starts on the road. In 11 home starts, Sanchez has an ERA of 0.86. In 7 road starts, an ERA of 3.89. He's 7-1 at home, 3-2 on the road. Obviously, way more innings at home, which is crazy. 73 innings and a 0.86 ERA. Opponents are batting just 188 against Christopher Sanchez at Citizens Bank Park. But on the road, in 44 innings, Sanchez with a 3.89 ERA, opponents batting 297 against him. I like the over tonight. It's 8.5 plus 102 to the over up on FanDuel right now. But wait, you might be able to get an over 8 and certainly shop around as well. All right, that'll wrap up this episode of Better Day. Want to remind you guys to follow us on social media at Better_Day on Twitter. Follow the Better Day YouTube page. Colby Marchio and Jake Hassan will be streaming their Off the Board podcast coming up this week on Wednesday and Friday. You can also listen to that right here on this Better Day podcast feed. We are gearing up towards football season. We are waiting to launch the Better Day mobile app, which will be incredible for all of you Better Day members. We also have an announcement as far as our tier structure is concerned up on BetterDay.com. So this is a big month for us as we transition from the summer into what is going to be like our bread and butter of betting football season come August and into the fall. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.